Hi, everybody. Well, this past weekend was the bounce back that I needed on the betting front. My picks went 3 for 3. I'll run through them real quick. The Dolphins covered the 4.5. They ended up losing the game by 2 points, but still good enough to cover that spread. The Packers went into the half with a 10-point lead, good enough to cover the 7.5. And my instinct was also right that they weren't going to cover the full 14-point spread. They ended up winning the game, but I think it was a 9-point win in the end. So, good bet on the first half with the Packers. And finally, I hit an anytime touchdown scorer bet with a touchdown reception from Zach Ertz in the Monday night game, the Bears and Commanders. And a couple other check-ins on my futures bets. The Patriots keep rolling. They are up to 4-2 and looking in decent shape to squeeze into the playoffs. A lot of ball to play, but with the schedule they've got coming up, it seems likely that they'll rack up some more wins. And Drake May is playing very well, so feel pretty good about that bet. Daniel Jones got another win, and he keeps putting up pretty good numbers. Again, not lighting the world on fire by any means, but I still feel like he's a decent contender for that Comeback Player of the Year award. Unfortunately, the Lions lost to the Chiefs on Sunday Night Football, so I think as it stands right now, the Packers are in first in the NFC North. So, going to need the Lions to course correct a little bit here in the next couple weeks. And I have 3 more bets to give out for this week. I had originally been unsure if I was going to be able to make a video, but given how successful I was over the weekend, I thought I would make an extra effort to squeeze it in and see if I can't keep on rolling. So, the first bet I like is actually for the Thursday night game. It's an anytime touchdown scorer, and I like Chase Brown, the Bengals running back, to score a touchdown at plus 140, and I'm actually going to do a whole unit on this. Trying to get 1.4 units. Chase Brown has not had a fantastic year so far. The Bengals as a whole haven't been, that great over the last few weeks after losing Joe Burrow. But I think, they're going to rely on Brown all the more. Chase Brown and the rest of the running game is going to have to carry a lot of the weight since they are technically on their 3rd quarterback this year with Joe Flacco coming in to try to keep the season afloat. So I think it's a good spot for Brown to hopefully get a rushing touchdown against the Steelers on Thursday Night Football. He hasn't had one since week 1, I'm pretty sure. So a combination of he's due and they'll be leaning on the running game more makes me think that plus 140 is pretty good value here. So I'm going to go for it. 1 unit, Chase Brown, anytime touchdown. My second bet is a total. I'm going to try my luck on an under this week. lowest totals on the board this week, if not the lowest. But the Browns have not scored more than 17 points all season. And on the flip side, they have a pretty solid defense and have been able to hold a lot of their opponents in check. The Dolphins don't have a great offense at this point. Tyreek Hill is out for the season. They've got a few other pieces. Jalen Waddle's not bad. Devon Achane is a solid running back, but I don't know that I see them going into Cleveland against this defense and putting up a ton of points. And on top of that, I think there's supposed to be some rain and wind in the forecast for Sunday in Cleveland. So I don't think 40 is low enough for these two teams this week, and I'm going to go with it 1 unit under 40.5 Browns-Dolphins. And my final bet is on one of the Monday night games coming up this week. It's the Texans-Seahawks game, and I actually like the Texans in this one at plus 3.5. A couple weeks ago, I bet on the Seahawks, and I talked about how tough Seattle is to play in with the 12th man. But in this case, I'm looking at the Seahawks coming back home after being on the road in Jacksonville, where they won. But that is literally the opposite corner of the country. They're traveling home and have to turn around and prepare for the Texans, who are coming off the bye week. They're going to be well rested, and they looked pretty good in their last 2 games before the bye week, albeit against pretty weak opponents. They beat a Lamar Jackson-less Ravens team and the Titans, but they beat them both pretty handily. It seemed like they were really hitting a groove, and on top of that, they have a week to rest. I think it's a good spot for them, getting 3.5 points. So even if the Seahawks squeak it out with a field goal win, the bet would still hit. So I feel like the Texans are the right side in this one, and I'm gonna put down a unit on them to cover the 3.5. So those are my picks for this week. Thank you as always to everyone who's watched, listened, and subscribed. Thanks for sticking with me through thick and thin, and hopefully we get another good week, another week of successful bets in week 7. So, hope everyone has a good week. Enjoy the football, and take care. Bye-bye.